So, I have had some queer friends ask me how they're supposed to explain to their more, let's say, old fashioned relatives why there are so many more queer and trans people that are coming out today. I mean, anyone who's queer knows how frustrating it is when they say, oh, back in my day there was no gay people and people are recruiting and blah blah blah. So, here's the analogy I use. Imagine you go grocery shopping and you go to the produce section, and there's all these different types of fruit there. But the signs say, we have apples and we have oranges. And you pull one of the workers over and you're like, excuse me, I'd like to buy a grape. And they're like, no, we only sell apples and oranges. And you point to the grapes and you're like, the grapes are right there, I just want to buy them. And they're like, no, we only sell apples and oranges. And you're like, okay, well, what if I pick up this bunch of grapes and bring them over to the cashier and buy them? And then the worker tells you, if you do that, you will never be allowed to buy groceries again. And you're like, well, shit, what I really want is a grape, but if I do that, I'll never be able to buy groceries again. I guess I'll buy an apple because it's kind of sweet like a grape. And everyone else does the same thing. The people who want grapefruits buy oranges. The people who want pears buy apples. They buy what's ever closest enough because they want to be able to buy groceries again. And what do they do if they actually want to buy grapes? Well, they go to smaller mom-and-pop grocery outlets that don't have that policy and that aren't going to punish them for buying grapes. And then they buy grapes, but they don't let the big chains know because they want to be able to keep buying groceries there. And then that big supermarket publishes something in the paper the next day. Based on our sales, people only buy apples and oranges. But that big supermarket forced them to do that. Now, over time, these smaller grocery stores end up getting bigger because that's where people have to go if they buy grapes. And they start getting big enough that the main supermarket goes, maybe we should allow people to buy grapes and grapefruits and pears. And it takes a long time, but eventually they go, okay, fruits of all kind are allowed here. Come in and buy whatever fruit you want. And so people come in, they buy apples and oranges and grapes and grapefruits and pears and lemons and lychee nuts and all sorts of good stuff. And then the supermarket publishes their sales in the newspaper again the next day. It would look that a while ago people were only buying apples and oranges, and now people are buying all different types of fruit. But the only reason people were only buying apples and oranges was because it was the only choice they had. Now that people are accepting of other types of fruit, people are going to buy other types of fruit. Honestly, that's usually enough to serve as an explanation, and if they still don't understand it at this point, they don't want to.